Alright, what's up y'all, LakerFan here. As you can see by the title of today's video, we're here to ask, what center build dominated NBA 2K22 Next Gen the most? So, in today's video, we have the 6'9", the 7', and the 7'3", also known as the 7'2" metric listed. These kind of intertwine between the two of them. I'm just going to list them in the same grouping, essentially, of 7'2" and 7'3". But anyway, like I said, the title of the video, we're here to ask, what build dominated NBA 2K22 Next Gen the most at the center position? So, again, we have the 6'9" metric listed right here. This is going to deal with a lot more park stuff. As we know, a 6'9" should not be functional when it comes to comp pro-am or anything like that when it comes to playing the 5 position, or at least especially in this year's game. It's not really possible to do. Now, there was a little bit of a period of time where the passing lanes were really crazy, and I wanted to try this. I wanted to run 3 6'9", the 3, 4, and the 5, but then boom, they passed the passing lanes as soon as that happened. But then again, the title of the video is to ask what center build dominated NBA 2K22 Next Gen the most. It's not to talk about what's the best right now. I'm talking about in total from all the way back to September up to now. What build dominated the game the most? So I hope you all enjoyed the video. If you do, for to drop a like, sub if you're new, tell them noties, all that good stuff. And like always, tries one of 500 likes. All right, last thing before we get into this, I want to let you guys know I'm at a brand new setup right here. I literally just moved, and this may sound different. I think it will. Honestly, I'll have to deal with the sound stuff a little bit. So apologize if it doesn't sound exactly like my other videos. It's not a new mic or anything like that. It's literally just a new room, new house. So anyway, again, apologize if it sounds different. I wanted to let you guys know a little bit of that life update info, though. It's a huge move. It's some big stuff for me. And anyway, we're going to get straight into the content, though. So let's start from left to right. With the 6'9" metric build at the shooting guard position, yes, I know it's not exactly a center build. It's meant to play at the big man spot, though, and particularly, like we said, in the park where it's 2v2, 3v3, stuff like that, and you're playing undersized. You have all the ability in the world to play passing lanes. You're playing elite versatility when it comes to defense. You can switch on to ball handlers and hold your own extremely well. This is pretty much a lockdown build to an extent, but at the same time, you have elite shot blocking ability, elite rebounding ability as well, and it really just features in as the best possible thing you can do to play 3v3 at the big man spot, in my opinion, and I think in a lot of other people's opinion as well. Alright, so here's a little bit of a look at how you would figuratively upgrade this build. I don't think I would advocate for it to actually have standing dunk, which, yes, I understand maybe is an odd thing from the perspective of someone who wants to play big man with this build, but to be honest with you guys, when it comes to the 3v3 aspect of this, I don't think you really need to have standing dunk, or for that matter, have very high close shot rating. I think just in general, it's going to be very often that you're going to be double teamed on your guard, and boom, you're just going to slip down the middle as the big man, or slip pop wherever you want to go. At the end of the day, 3v3 and 2v2, it's dominated by literally, can you score more 3-pointers, or is there more spacing? And a point guard is going to be the one dominating in the paint when it comes to 2v2 on just quick drops and stuff like that. So in general, this 6'9" build right here is not meant to play the 5 at all when it comes to comp pro-am. But again, we do want to make the case for it a little bit over the course of when the passing lanes were extremely overpowered. I definitely had thoughts of having a build like this, but I wasn't going to have quite as much shooting on it, or even shooting at all for that matter. Or again, maybe have things like standing dunk, close shot, upgraded a little bit more. It is what it is. So anyway, I know the answer to the topic of this video, or the title of the video, is going to be a little bit vague. It's going to be me talking about how this 6'9" dominated this year's game when it comes to playing the big man position in 3v3, which I think a lot of people generally will say is probably their favorite thing to play on the game. I don't think a lot of people favor 2s over 3s, but who knows? I mean, it's definitely up to you guys. But anyway, again, this 6'9" build right here dominated 3v3. It's literally just as simple as that. It's the best big man build you could possibly make. It's what people consider valid as well. Now, in terms of like the comp stage stuff, you have to be listed at power forward to make this, and you can still make a build like this at the power forward position. It's just a little bit more complicated. This one's a little bit easier to set up with the 6'9" metric, but let's talk about what this build brings to the table. I mean, you have 77 3-pointer with Hall of Fame sniper off the 80 mid-range. You have contact dunks at every package possible, 80 driving layup as well. And yes, I understand maybe if you're a center and you want to play like a center, you could just go ahead and drop the driving layup entirely and have enough driving dunk for just pro contacts. And then boom, you could put more into close shot. Like, you could reasonably get this to 93 at that point, and it'd be probably more valid when it comes to playing like an actual center. But I don't think a lot of people do that, to be honest with you. So anyway, moving down the line, we have playmaking, 75 ball handle, 70 speed with ball. It's really good for just being a hybrid center build, and you can kind of just do things on your own a little bit with the ball in your hands. I mean, you have, like I said, the ability to get driving contact dunks, and you can still shoot the ball as well. So you can do what a lot of people consider dragging it, where you can just take the ball and boom, if the defense is playing way too much attention onto your point guard, then you can just take it yourself. And you can just quickly take it to the side and get yourself a wide open three-pointer, or you can just slip it right down the middle manually if you have the ball in your hands and just get a contact dunk. You can get just a wide open quick drop dunk, whatever the case may be. You can still put the ball on the ground pretty manageably. But anyway, moving along, we have the defensive aspect of this build. You have enough to get bronze brick wall, which can be pretty valid. If you wanted to use this as more of an actual like center build, and you wanted that silver brick wall, what you can actually do is you can upgrade your weight to a decent point, and you'll be able to get even more rebounding off it as well. You are going to lack a little bit in the perimeter defense and speed categories, which is why some people would prefer to just have that in general. But anyway, we don't want to spend too much time talking about this because it's not really the actual center build that a lot of people are going to use in fives. So let's just talk lastly on what this build brings to the table defensively, whether it be on ball or off ball. So off-ball defensively, 90 steal, it really does go crazy. I mean, you have Hall of Fame Interceptor, you also get 95 block for the Hall of Fame Intimidator. This is really just an elite build when it comes to defensive versatility. You can be an on-ball defender, you can be a hedge defender, you can be just guarding big straight up. You're really not going to have that hard a time guarding 7'2", 7'3". I know, understandably, yes, this game is hard to play into your defense, but it's not really that much worse than a 7'2" would be guarding the paint or anything like that. I mean, just in general, it's hard for 7'2s to guard 7'2s in the paint. It's still going to be hard, yes, for a 6'9" to be able to guard a 7'2" in the paint, but it's still definitely doable, especially with Pogo Stick being on Hall of Fame as well, where you can just rock out on gold, whatever the case may be. 95 block rating with 85 vertical, plenty enough for you to hold your own in the paint with good block timing. Moving along to the last category of this build, we have rebounding. It's only going to be 84 offensive rebound and 92 defensive rebound. Again, with this build, you're maybe planning to more like be a popper or something like that. You're going to be on the three-point line a lot more often than a 7'3" would be, and you don't need offensive rebounding at a super elite level, as well as just the fact that the 6'9" doesn't get that at a super elite level unless you upgrade weight. So just in general, this is probably what you'll be rocking out with. And again, this is meant to be a spacing big. It's obviously not meant to be a dog on the rebounds or anything like that. But again, it provides a lot of offensive and defensive versatility. You got 79 speed, 85 vertical, 99 stamina. Like I said, pretty standard. And right here, we have a lot of different takeover options. With this 6'9" metric build, you can actually get every takeover option in the game as long as you upgrade it in the right aspect. So for instance, post control will get you post takeover, etc., etc. There's just a lot of different ratings that you maybe have to adjust. But anyway, slash, lock, rim, and glass for this standard build right here. I think it's pretty obvious that you're going to rock out with one of the three on the right here with glass, rim, and lock. And just in general, the ability to have lock and rim takeover together on this build is really elite in the sense of how you're going to play with this. You're probably going to be a backside defender, yet you still want to be versatile and be able to switch on the ball. It's also going to help you play passing lanes to have the lockdown takeover active as well. For this specific loadout of the build, I have enhanced jump shot contest and paint intimidation as the primary and secondary takeovers. I think it's low-key kind of an elite thing to do to play backside defense if you're playing as the 6'9" in Pro-Am. So again, mind you, this build can play big man defense. It just can't really play big man offense. So just keep that in mind if anybody ever wanted to like kind of just discuss that. You're gonna be sitting in the corner on O and then guarding bigs on D. And you're playing hedge, you're here to like help your guard or help your lockdown on the backside defense. We all know how the standard aspect of the build goes. So anyway, that is the build right there for the 6'9". I think it dominated 3v3 100%. It's not the best 2v2 build, but I think it's really good for the ISO people. I think it's really good for the fact that you can still ISO with this build right here at the 2 spot against maybe weaker defenders if they try and hide their point guard somewhere on the court on 2v2. I don't like to play a lot of 2v2 anymore these days, but I will say the 6'9", it does support that pretty well. Now, what I think is also really fun for 2v2 and just in general to play park with, as well as still maybe fit in at the big man spot for Pro-Am, is the 7-footer glitch metric build right here. So it shows as 7 foot, it's really like a 6'11" 3/4, and it's so fun to play with as well. But also, again, I did play Pro-Am with this at the 5 for an extended period of time, or at the very least, I played with it very consistently at the 4 spot, yet combined the fact that I would run with another 7'2" who was maybe an outside guy, and he would just sit in the corner, and I was the pick and roller with the 7-footer. I was also playing hedge defense with this, and this is why I want to say this build is quite like accessible when it comes to that. Now, me personally, I didn't use this with 3-point upgraded. I have literally 25 3-pointer, just a little bit of mid-range that it really just forces you to upgrade to with the close shot being up. But this build right here, we did give it a little bit of a 3-point option. I think for people people who would make something like this, you want to be able to comfortably play the 4 with, because not everybody is like me where they want to utilize the undersized centers, and we'll talk about that for a reason, because to be honest with you, the 7'3s and 7'2s, they dominate Pro-Am this year. It's literally as simple as that. So overall, we're here to talk about just how these two different builds of the 6'9" and the 7-footer, their viability in park, I think that definitely makes a really good case for them, as well as the fact that they fit in the 4 spot for Pro-Am extremely well, like way better than you would for another 7'3" to be on the court. We personally, on my Pro-Am team, actually do have two 7'3s, but again, in a meta sense, these builds definitely fit in more at the 4 when it comes to Pro-Am, and then they fit in really good at the 3 spot when it comes to 3v3, 2v2, stuff like that. And this can still play the 5 right here. So anyway, the one downside to this build, I love how I haven't said anything great about it yet, but the one downside to this build is going to be that if you got one more driving dunk, you will be able to get pro contact dunks, and that'd be so fire for the sake of just the fun factor of this build. 6'10", unfortunately, is how far you'd have to go to be able to get 84 driving dunk. I don't think you can even get it at 6'11", even like standard default type height or anything like that. So honestly, this is why I say the two medians between that are just the best builds when it comes to the 6'9" and the 7-footer, because at the 6'9", you just have elite driving dunk ability, whereas at the 7-foot, you have really good defense, I must say. Like, the versatility on this, with the perimeter D and the steal being pretty decent, and then having elite block, rebounding, as well as kind of, yes, the same standard ability as the 6'9" is, but you're taller, you have a longer wingspan, you're also able to contest the 7'2s and 7'3s more viably, and just in general, the bigger you are, the better the defense in general, and you don't really lack that much speed. You still have 74 speed at 7 foot tall, which is freakish. I must say, this is probably my favorite build to play defense on all year. And also, don't sleep on the playmaking ability of this. The 65 ball handle is a decent level, 100%. Speed with ball, yes, maybe a little bit low at 52. You can upgrade this a little bit too, but if you wanted to make the outside version of this, I think it's a little bit tough to be able to manage every attribute rating being upgraded. Like on mine, personally, I have 80 driving layup, I have post control upgraded as well, I have maxed out speed with ball, maxed out steal, and maxed out acceleration as well, and it definitely factors into your playmaking ability, 100%. Like, lacking acceleration and speed with ball definitely takes a hit to an extent when it comes to you being able to take the ball and do something with it. Now, I think triple threat is really your key access to being able to get open with this. I mean, I like dominate on the 1v1 court when it comes to triple threat ability and just not even having to dribble. Literally just you run so fast off triple threat with a 7-foot build right here, with still having speed with ball and acceleration upgraded. But if you didn't want to do that, again, this fits in better as a role player when you can upgrade a 3-pointer, because then obviously your spacing plays a factor and you could run things like sharp takeover as well. Me personally though, I like double box out wall. I think it's really good for helping you, especially with this build, compete when it comes to box out and rebounds. Just in general, it's a little bit harder sometimes on the 7-footers to hang with the 7-2s and 7-3s. So when you can have box out wall and Hall of Fame box, it definitely helps you stop getting wormed as much, and also you can still worm people as well yourself with the box out wall. All right, so for our last build, I wanted to talk about the 7'2" glitch metric. Now, the whole point of being 7'2" glitch metric is the fact that you get 75 vertical while also still being able to retain the 99 offensive and defensive rebounding. So this is an elite build right here. I think it's by far the one that has dominated Pro-Am the most when it comes to being the 5 position. I don't think, though, this is one that has been generally seen that much when it comes to 3v3 or 2v2 competitive play. So when it comes to, like, let's say comp stage 3v3, you'll never see this stuff right here. Now, me personally, I don't think it's that bad. If you wanted my personal opinion, I think if you play 2 guards up on pick and roll defense and stick this guy in the corner, he can be an elite rebounder for you. He can also hawk the offensive rebounds like crazy. But the problem is you have to have outside shooting when it comes to playing comp 3v3, especially with the stage and stuff like that, where people are just going to give up wide open 2s every single play if you're sitting down there in the paint. So your guards are going to have to literally fade against double teams. Now, I'm not going to lie to you. I think it is possible to do stuff like that or to work 2-man game. But at that point, then you're going to have a 2-on-3. It's going to be way too crowded. So long story short, it becomes that much easier for your point guard to work on offense if you can just sit in the corner on the 3-point line and they can't double off you then, and you're a viable 3-point threat, and then boom, then you can still dominate the offensive rebounding. But people don't do that for whatever reason. I don't think you see it generally on 3v3, whether it be park or stage for that matter. I don't even think the casuals really like the 7'2s and 7'3s that much when it comes to park for 3v3. So just in general, I think this build dominates Pro-Am, and me personally, I think it still is really good when it comes to park and 3v3 stage and stuff like that. But again, the general consensus is that people don't like it because they think it's too slow, they think it's really bad to play backside defense with. My personal opinion, I think 65 speed at 7'2", it goes crazy still. I think you can still play elite backside defense with this. I don't think you need to have elite perimeter defense unless you're switching on to point guards, in which case, yes, that may become a problem. But hedge defense, in my opinion, Not at all. It all depends on and hinges on whether your lockdown can fight through screens and doesn't need to be able to switch every now and then. So, long story short, if your lockdown doesn't like to switch, you're perfectly fine playing a hedge on a build like this, in my opinion. Now, if your lockdown can't get through screens, then you get stuck on point guards, and now you're in a bad situation. But again, on 3v3, you can really just duck people and sit in the corner on defense the entire time and run 2 guards up and just give up free slips every single time if you're playing by that meta ball right there, where you're just giving up free 2s and stopping their 3s. And then again, this build right here, elite rebounder. Now let's go over to the game mode that actually matters, and I don't know why I've been neglecting it with this whole video, but really the whole reason is the 6'9" and the 7-footer, they don't really work that great at the 5 when it comes to Pro-Am. This build right here is the meta for a reason when it comes to 5s, because it's the best one in the game. It's literally as simple as that. 99 rebounding will give you the Hall of Fame rebound chaser for only 5 badge points right here. 98 block, also obviously for the rim protector, makes it cost only 5 instead of 6 as well. You have elite ability to play corner defense. I mean, you still have silver interceptor, you still get hustler on gold as well. I mean, this build is so elite when it comes to everything. Good interior defense, everything you need for the passing, free throws still good. Obviously a standing dunk 90 is plenty enough to get the elite contact dunks for the big man packages as well. You also need the 75 vertical for that, so obviously the 7'2" glitch metric fits that standard as well. 65 speed, 73 strength is perfectly fine as well. 99 close shot for the paint mashing. You still have 75 driving dunk for the silver limitless takeoff and quick drops off 1, best animation in the game possible. I mean, in general, there's nothing wrong with this build at all when it comes to Pro-Am. And again, that's really why you don't see any other builds than this at the 5 position when it comes to Pro-Am. And if you do see a different build than this, it's probably a standard 7'3" build, not a 7'2" glitch metric. So just in general, the tall bigs dominated Pro-Am this year. They absolutely dominated Pro-Am this year. I started the year on a 6'8" myself, and I came to realize very quickly that I need to be on a tall big when it comes to playing 5s. Now again, I did still manage to be able to like hang when it comes to the 7-footer, but it's not ideal at all. So anyway, when it comes to the takeovers on this, you're going to want to run double box out wall. In case anybody wants to see this real quick, I'll actually show you the way that I have this set up for my boy Tonic. So we actually run 2 7'3s on Pro-Am, as I mentioned earlier in the video. So this build right here is his to play power forward with. So this right here is a 7'2" glitch metric that has low wingspan and high weight. So he has 83 3-pointer and 89 mid-range with 99 close shot as well. He's meant to be a post-scorer hybrid and also features in as a pick and popper every now and then while I can't paint on offense. So this build right here, I'm not gonna lie, bro, it is pretty devious at the power forward position. It's not elite on speed, obviously. Its strength, though, at 85 is really interesting, and you can't put a baby on this guy. You have to put the center on this dude right here, and if we work him in the pick and pop situations where we maybe have him come out the corner and work pick and pop with our guard, the center is stuck guarding him, and the center is forced to guard pick and roll defense, which some of these dudes, they got no stick to do so. They really just are so horrible when it comes to pick and roll defense, and not to mention, you have to play pick and pop defense on this build. And when you like pop out to the top of the key and the guard runs to the corner, the center has to stay with this guy and contest him. And then me, as the center on offense, I'm camping down in the paint and I'm just absolutely dogging people on offensive rebounds because they keep a 6'9" on me. And if they switch that and they put the 7'3" on me and the 6'9" on Tonic right here with this 7'2" build at the power forward position, then we can easily allow me to come up and set screens instead of Tonic. And then I'm able to just force 7'3s to play pick and roll defense still. And they hate doing that because you have to hedge against really elite point guards that are just getting open constantly against the screens and stuff like that. So anyway, long story short, I just wanted to showcase to you guys this like glitch 7-2 build right here that could debatably still play the 5. I mean, low key, it still has the ability to. You could be an elite popper with this. You also can still play solid interior defense. You can just play corner defense as well for that matter and just be the dropper. And honestly, I don't think the 91 rebounding is going to hurt that much. Like I said, I was still able to manage playing on a 7-footer with these stats defensively as well. Like literally the exact same interior defense, the exact same block, even more steal obviously, but the exact same rebounding. And long story short, if you want to do something that's completely outside the box and you want to be a pop heavy team that likes to run a lot of 5 out and stuff like that, which I understand is also not that good of an option this year. I think the spacing is just kind of tough, but if you wanted a really pop heavy build, this really could play the 5. I think it's very possible. 99 close shots still. I understand the standing dunk is pretty low, but again, you can just play the mash game. You don't even have to. We really just could just dominate in the close shot area anyway, and just hit people with pump fakes. You don't even have to standing dunk for that matter. But anyway, wanted to talk about the 3 options right there. to kind of just recap and give you guys my full answer, I think 7'2" and 7'3" has absolutely dominated the game this year when it comes to playing the 5 position. Yet, like I said, I think the 6'9" has dominated 3v3 100%, and the 7-footer is kind of hybrid between the two of them. You don't see a lot of people run the 7-footer, but me personally, on my personal experience running with all 3 of these builds, I have a 6'9" glitch metric that can shoot. I have one that can't. It's an inside. I have a 7-foot glitch metric like this. I have a 7'3" myself, and me personally, my favorite build to play 3v3 with was this one right here. It was so speedy and versatile on defense. It provided what I wanted for offense as well. It wasn't a lot of fun on O, to be honest with you, just because of the fact that it didn't have contact dunks, whereas the 6'9s do, so that is one thing. But its dribbling ability wasn't horrible either. But anyway, I think all 3 of these builds make a very solid case to be played for 3v3, but the only one that's really extremely viable in the meta when it comes to Pro-Am is the 7'2" glitch metric, or the 7'3" standard. Really, just in general, you need height when it comes to 5s. It's literally as simple as that. So if you want to use either of these 2 builds as the power forward, you can absolutely do so. The one that we showcased right here that's actually displayed, you can also use as the power forward. I mean, it's really fire the way Tonic uses this, if you guys want to check out the Pro-Am gameplays if you haven't. But anyway, that is all for the video. Hope you all enjoyed. If you did, for drop a like, sub, new, turn on the noties, all the good stuff, and like always, try to 1 to 500 likes. Made it to the end of the video. Put whatever height you think is the best. You can put 7'2", 7 foot, 6'9", or you can put something else as well if you want. Just to show your support that's made it to the end of the video, leave that in the comments. And that, I hope you all enjoyed. Also, we'll be getting into some more content as well. I know you guys have probably noticed the decrease in the amount of content I've been uploading. I'm switching over to pretty much taking 1 day off every other day because this moving process has been a lot. So again, I also apologize if the audio sounds a little different. We'll try and manage all that stuff and make it sound better if it does sound bad. But anyway, hope you all enjoyed the video. And that, take it easy, man. Peace.